Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have a kit guitar on the bench, but there's a long story to go with it. So let's get right to it. I'm going to try and explain what's happening here as I'm checking it out. So a couple of years ago, my brother, who lives in Indianapolis, and I live in South Florida, said that he hadn't played in many, many years, and he was thinking about picking it back up again. So without telling him a thing, I decided I'm going to throw together a guitar, make a bunch of videos, and send it to him because he was going to, try to pick it back up again. And that was the impetus of putting this kit guitar together. So it came as a raw body. The neck was, separated. I put the whole guitar together. Um, Long story short, he decided, well, over the last couple of years, that he was going to get a little more involved in playing guitar again, and came for a visit, bought some other instruments, and we got talking about this particular guitar. Um, and he said it had a few problems. So right away, I said, I'd love to get my hands back on that guitar and straighten it out for you. Well, let's go through the evaluation. The first thing we're going to do is check the electronics, which are wonky at best. This is the neck pickup. Now, when I got it, by the way, we hear a little bit of ground noise. When I got it, the neck position, which would have been up, was actually playing here. So this whole thing was twisted around to where when you pushed it into neck position, which is treble, whatever, it was playing the neck, and conversely, the neck position was playing the bridge. In the middle, they sort of both work. Now, volume knobs are really wonky. The pots are, let's put it in neck. It's really, really low. I'm sure the mic is picking up on that. The post is actually lifting up and down out of the pot on both volumes. And we're getting sometimes loud, sometimes not. And if you turn it down just a bit, it almost disappears. And the tone on one of them isn't even working at all. So we know we have some wonky electronics going on here. Again, it was a kit guitar, and I used most of the stuff that came in the kit, thinking it's going to someone. I didn't want to give them a piece of junk by any means, but I figured, I was doing a budget build, and that was really the whole course of the videos and the exercise. But it came with these, the P90s that you see here, or P90 shaped objects, came with the kit, so we know they're not that great. Tuners failed almost immediately when I put the guitar together. Two of the tuners broke, so I got some Goto locking tuners, and yeah, sure enough, they're a little wonky too. I'm gonna investigate them further. But right away, we know we're going to gut the electronics. I see that the bridge and saddle assembly is backwards. Now, I don't know if I missed that or if somebody else did it and flip-flopped it around, but we're going to get after that. So we got a lot of work to do here. First and foremost, we're going to take it apart, and that's going to be today's exercise, is pretty much gutting this guitar. Now, if I don't like these pickups, I have a couple of Epiphone pickups that are really, really good pickups that came out of a Les Paul Epiphone. They're Zebra. But yeah, we're up here. Doesn't really matter what's going on. But back here, yeah, all the pots are loose. Number one, which could be just a grounding issue, but I don't like the way that the posts are jumping up and down. Now, these were CTS pots that I sourced, and I'm not going to say the name out loud. I'll just whistle. I'll just hum their initials, Stuart McDonald. These are good CTS pots, and they should not be failing like this. Yeah, so we're going to do the whole thing all over again. And to do that, guess what we do? Yeah, we're going to take everything out, because I'm not going to do anything half-assed, especially not for my brother. Let's see if the knobs come off. When they do not want to come off. Wow. So they're, Jesus, even that one is, these pots are junk. I'm going to rewire the entire guitar. It's probably going to get new pickups. The three-way switch is okay. It was loose and somehow it got turned around, so the positions were mixed up. Yeah, wow. Wow. I'm going to pause while I get the strings off, and I'm going to get the knobs off. The knobs, I can show you how we do that. It's pretty simple. Man, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to have to rebuild this entire instrument. Just kind of give them a gentle tug with a flathead screwdriver. And usually that will get them to break loose enough that we can get them off. Man, they really are fighting me. Yeah. Wow. And the post is actually picking up and down. Not good. Not good. I should probably get a spoon for this, because they're really fighting me. I'm going to pause really quickly while I go get a spoon. Instead of a flathead, I just use a teaspoon, and that'll spread out the force that you're putting on them. I'd like to not break them and reuse them. Stand by. So just to illustrate, usually a flathead will work, but good old-fashioned teaspoon. And get it all turned around to one side, and then get it in there and just tug on it, turn it, tug on it, turn it. And then they usually just pop right off. And of course, they're not going to. The reason you use a teaspoon is because it gets up underneath inside instead of the rim. Yeah. Wow. And why do you use the rag? Well, common sense. Come on. They are really on there. See, the spoon goes all the way in and gets on that part right there instead of banging on the outside. That's why you do that. I think I'm going to keep my wife's teaspoon. I haven't had to use one in a long time. And that's going to be one of my special tools. Holy shnikes. Just to get the knobs off, right? So everything's coming out of it. All of this. Let's get the strings off. We might as well, because we know that shit's coming off too. Stand by while I make noise and get the strings out. So, point of interest, two things I noticed right away. The bridge is backwards, and I know I didn't leave it on there backwards. At some point, somebody restrung it. Now, these are locking Goto tuners, as I said. They're not the best, but they're certainly not the worst, and they feel okay. I don't know if the locking mechanisms are working because most of them were loose, but there was about 100 wraps on each one of them. And with lockers, all you have to do is go to the next, not even to the next one. You don't have to have a whole bunch of wraps. It's the locking knob on the bottom that holds the string in there. So maybe a lesson in restringing with locking tuners is in order. And I'm sure at some point when he and or she or someone restrung the instrument, they had that put on backwards, completely backwards. And yeah, I know that's a debate, but this particular one can only go one way because the saddles get fat and thinner as you move that way, so it can only go one way. I digress. That's all going to be remedied. The nut, I know I did that. I'm not real happy with my job. It's too tall. I should have cut it down smaller, shorter before I did the nut slots. I'll cop to that one. Let's progress. Let's proceed. What we're going to do is just cut wires and get this crap out of here because we are not going to keep any of it. I am going to upgrade everything because I can and because it needs it. Nothing wrong with the switch. It's a good CTS switch. Switchcraft, sorry. That's an upgrade. That's not what came with the kit, so I know I put that in. That's a Switchcraft. Yeah, okay, whatever. Just cut everything off and pull it through. We're not going to save anything, and we're going to start fresh, so there's no reason to try to salvage any of this crap. I got to say, the solder job looks good. I wonder who did that. I wonder who did that. Right? Mahogany body, mahogany neck, maple fretboard. I believe it was a maple fretboard. Rosewood or probably Pulsaro, who knows. It was a pretty inexpensive kit, but when I got it and inspected it, I was very pleased with what I saw. Now, I did not paint anything. All I did was tung oil on it. When I finished it with him, I treated it with tung oil for about 2 months because I didn't want to get into painting. As I said, it was going to my brother who hadn't played in many, many years. And he was just getting back into it. Now he's back into it full force 2 or 3 years later. And we're going to make this one stand tall for him because, well, he's my brother and he deserves it. No monkey business this time. No cutting corners. If something isn't looking right or playing right, it's going to get fixed, and it's going to get fixed right. And the only way for me to do that is to start with a clean slate. These are coming out. I may try to put some humbuckers in here because, as I said, these P90 knockoffs came with the kit. And I didn't see any reason not to use them. But we know they're not going to be that great, right? We know they're not going to be that great. So, yeah, he's going to get probably an upgraded set of pickups in it. Don't worry, my brother. I'll keep it. I'll keep it inexpensive for you. I'll try not to hit you over the head with this stuff. Anyone who believes that, stand on your head. Bridge, neck. So it's funny, the neck actually has an N embossed in it. The bridge does not. Somebody put a red B on it, probably me. Dumb shit that I am. Yeah, these are not going back in that guitar. All my shielding looks good. My shielding looks pretty good here too, and here. Not that you really need to shield that, but I might take that out because sometimes that will cause a ground issue. If something just touches it, the side of that, it can ground it out and cause all kinds of weird wonky crap. And I will tell you that I found a little piece of cardboard in there that somebody tried to use as a shield against the shield. So yeah, we're probably going to take all of that shielding out of there. I don't know why I put that in there, but I did. No, human. I could screw up. Maybe I overdid it with that. Taking them apart is easy. I gotta say, it's a pretty guitar still. I think it still stands tall. Of course, we're gonna check all the frets, make sure nothing's buzzing or any of that crap. And we'll check that before final assembly. I'm gonna get the fret rocker out. I don't remember if I did a fret leveling on this guitar when I gave it to him. I could see he has played it. There's marks where it's been played. It's drier than a popcorn fart, but that's all right. It's all right. It's all right. There is our ground wire from the nut set for the bridge. That one will stay. I'm not going to unsolder it. I'm just going to snip it. Snip it and tape it. All right, come off of there, you. Oh. These are good CTS pots, and it irritates me that they only lasted, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I can hear them. They're making all kinds of noise. Yeah, Stumac. I got them from Stumac. So, yeah, it's not always true what they say. You know, if you pay up, you'll get the best stuff. Don't know. Don't know if that's true or not. All right, we're gutted. All the electronics are out. The pickups are out. I am not going to pull these studs. I'm going to make sure, the thread sets, I mean, I'm going to make sure that they're down and flush and secure. But we're not going to go that far. Haven't we gone far enough? I don't even know if the saddle is going to make it, but it seems like it's in good condition, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I just think it was in backwards. Somebody restrung it at some juncture, and that happens. You know, sometimes they come off, or you take them off and you forget which way to put them. But a little common sense goes a long way. The low E is fatter, and they get progressively smaller as you go to the high E. And if they're not like that, if you really do a little forensic investigation, you put on your Mr. Magoo eyes, and you can see where the low E was. It will make round striations in the the valley of the saddle where the plain wire strings won't do that. Just another tip from your Uncle Blackjack. There's nothing wrong with these thread sets. They are positioned, they are in there. Let us make sure we're getting good ground. We're just going to check for continuity. I don't know which one of these is the one that has the wire. I'm going to assume it's the one closest to the cavity. So probably that guy right there. Oh, helps if you're on the right zero. Uh-oh. We do not have continuity. I wonder why. Because it was in the wrong one. It's in the stop bar, not the saddle. There we go. And that's good news. Continuity all over the cavity. I mean, how could we not? Look at all that copper tape. That won't be. I think I'm going to clean that cavity and take the copper tape out. We have continuity here. We know that it goes to the stop bar thread set. We're probably going to clean these out. One of these did not want to come out cleanly. We're going to clean up those holes and maybe oversize them slightly. I want the pots to be able to go in and out of the drill holes cleanly. You follow? Now, before we finish today's video, that's pretty much it. We were just doing a disassembly today. This stuff, I know a lot of you are going to be tempted to keep. Oh, no, we can reuse that stuff. No, you can't. Don't even reuse the caps. All right, these things are no bueno. Sorry. The three-way selector switch, yeah, that thing's working fine. I'm going to desolder it, get all the wires off. We're going to start with fresh wires because I can't stand grounded sheath wires. Don't like them. I'm going to do it my way. I should have done all of this to begin with. I'm going to admit it, I got a little lazy on some things and I cut a few corners because I was doing this as a gift, and no, not that I'm cheap and I was giving them crap, but I was also doing videos for the web, the YouTube videos, and I wanted to show, hey, you could do a budget build in it, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars, right? And we accomplished that, but now here we're back revisiting it, and we're gonna now upgrade all of this, and yeah, it needs to be upgraded. Sorry to tell you. And some of it is on me. Some of it is just the stuff that came with it. And I probably now, 2 years later, and it's amazing how 2 years can make a difference. I think it's 2 or 3 years. How differently we think and our thought processes change, even after a couple of years in our chosen field, because that's what the point of reference is. I wouldn't do this now. It's not necessary. It doesn't need to be done. Even though at the factory, they spray shielding paint in there, spray shielding paint in here, but old school is copper shielding, and it's going to stay in there because we need that. We still have to determine whether we're going to keep the tuners, but that'll come at a later juncture. Everything else on the guitar structurally looks pretty good, except I don't know. I must have been hung over when I put this nut in, because I'm gonna claim stupidity, and I'm gonna cop to it right now. I could do a much better job on that. And to make sure I don't forget, we're gonna knock it out right now. And I think I might have a Graph Tech nut, and we're gonna start fresh with a new nut. Too tall, number one, right? It's too tall because the slots are dug too deep. And I might have gone, all right, well, that's the one that's on there. I'm just going to cut it down, because I don't think I put this in there. I think it was already on the neck, and it was, you know, pre-marked, and I just went to cutting it. But the slots don't need to be that friggin' deep. Can you see that? So we got to clean up the channel, and I believe I already went out to my parts bin. I am going to size and refit a new Graph Tech. It may not be exactly perfect, but we can shave down the sides a little bit, make it work in there. And I can already tell that it's going to be way better. I may even take some off the bottom of that, because it just doesn't need to be that high. You just want enough to hold the string in the slot, in the nut slot, the string slot, call it what you want. Some of my material came off, but we'll fix that up. No big deal. All right, there we go. Dismantled, part one. It took me a half an hour all in, but I still have a little bit of work to do to clean it up and get it open. I'm going to pull all of that copper tape out. I'm going to bore these, not to make them bigger, but to just clean them up so they're nice and tidy, because I noticed when I was taking the old, I don't want to use their name again. I'll just use their initials. Stuart McDonald sent me some crappy stuff. So we're going to clean that up and make sure that it's prepared for the new pots that are going to go in it ultimately. We've got a growing pile of parts. We're going to try to reuse some of them that can be reused. All electronics except for the Switchcraft three-way switch are going to go away. We're going to reuse that. It's Blackjack with 396 guitars. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 episodes to this process. I'm going to skip over some of it. You can actually go back and refer to when this guitar was originally put together and check it out. We'll talk soon. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe.